Hey everybody, what's going on? I hope you're doing well today. Hope your weekend has been good so far. Now it's another rainy, dreary day in my neck of the woods, so we're down in my basement. We're going to be shooting down here today, and I'm going to be talking about something that affects our shot cycle and more importantly can have a negative effect on our accuracy. And it's something so simple and it's easy to overcome. I think sometimes we just don't think about it. So let me get set up and let's get into this video. Now the genesis for this video actually came from watching my friend's channel, Handy, and this is his channel ID here. If you've not checked out Handy's channel, please go do so. I mean, the man really puts in the work, and you can just see the joy he gets out of just getting out to shoot. Now, one of the things that he has done on his channel is ride a skateboard while shooting the bow, and that's that's another story for another time. But Andy, you're a better man than me, but please go check out his channel. Now, today we're going to be talking about just our follow-through whenever we're shooting, and more importantly, our grip and how that's affecting our shot cycle and our accuracy. And a lot of this just comes from the simple fact of either not knowing, especially for new archers, or really just a matter of panic before you release that shot. So ask yourself this: how many times have you stood there ready to release that shot and you have these visions in your mind of that bow shooting out of your hand and just flying and being free? I know my longbow has jumped out of my hands more than a couple of times whenever I've been out shooting. And the reason it's jumped out of my hand is because of the sheer amount of hand shock that bow has. And I'm just trying to have a very loose grip on that bow, or on the riser itself, or excuse me, the grip area. And because of that, it jumps out of my hand. It's that quick. I mean, it can happen just like that. So what I do, or what I tend to do whenever I'm shooting that bow now, is I'm doing something called torquing. That is where I am gripping the bow as tightly as I can so it doesn't jump out of my hand. And what's happening is whenever I torque that bow, I'm affecting that shot by just moving the bow very little. And when you're in the process of shooting, you don't realize that you're doing it. So let's think of it in these terms. So here's the arrow. We're going to release from the shot. I'm actually letting it go. And if I torque this thing, what could happen is it could throw the shot off one way or the other, right or left. So, because it still has to get past the riser, and moving your bow can actually affect the arrow flight and you don't realize that it's happening. So how do you get past torquing the bow? Well, just a very loose grip. If you think about it, your hand and the way it is, or the way your hand is, this area right here, this meaty part in your palm right here by your thumb, is what you're wanting to have on the actual grip itself. You want to hold your hand at a 45-degree angle, like so, just a very relaxed grip, or really no grip at all. And really you can wrap your fingers around the front, so whenever that bow does jump, you catch it. And normally that's going to work. Now, sometimes what I find though is I panic a little bit whenever I release that shot. And what I'm meaning by panic is, as soon as I release that arrow, I have a tendency to grab. And I could be grabbing too fast, and this could be causing that torque that I'm talking about. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a few shots, slow them down. I'm just going to catch the meat of the video, if you will, to show you what's happening when you, one, torque the bow, and two, what can happen if you just panic and try to grab the bow itself. Hopefully I won't drop my bow and make an idiot of myself in this video, but hey, I've done it before, so you know it is what it is. So if you notice in those two clips, the first one I was gripping the bow. Now that was introducing torque. Now at longer distances, that's really going to show up. At a short distance like I'm shooting now, not so much, but it is going to have an effect on your accuracy. Now the second two shots that I took, if you noticed, I was using a relaxed grip. But in the first one, what happened was I closed my fingers in too quickly, almost like a panic reaction, if you will, not wanting to drop that bow. And if you noticed, I closed my fingers in before the arrow had actually cleared the riser. That's going to introduce torque as well and going to throw off your shot and affect your accuracy. So let's go look at the target and see how these arrows impacted. And then I'm going to show you something that I picked up from my friend Handy, just watching his content, that I incorporated into my shooting, and it really makes a difference in that shot cycle and in your follow-through. Okay, so you can tell by these two different arrow groups which one I was doing. These two are where I was gripping the bow, introducing torque and throwing off the shot. These two are where I was using a relaxed grip, but one of these I actually closed my fingers too fast and introduced torque into the bow, throwing off this shot as well. Okay, so like I said earlier, I got the inspiration for this video from watching my friend Handy's channel. And the thing he uses a lot when he shoots is a finger sling. Now, you see this a lot in Olympic archery. You don't really see it so much in traditional archery, and really not a lot in hunting. You do see wrist slings whenever people are using compound bows, but not so much when it comes to traditional recurves or longbows. But now I think a finger sling can help out. And the reason I think so is because what's happening is you're robbing that arrow energy whenever you're torquing that bow and throwing off that shot. You're really affecting your accuracy that way. Now, is it practical to use one of these in a hunting situation? Probably not. But again, this is just a simple little exercise that you can use a finger sling for to see if you're actually introducing torque into your bow, because your accuracy may be off here. Think about it. And you may have gone through your whole checklist of, well, I've done this, I've done that, my arrows are tuned, right string, right brace height, but something's still off, and it could be something as simple as what you're doing with your bow hand. Slings you can buy commercially, of course, but you can make them yourself at home if you've got something as simple as this, just a shoestring. I had some extra ones laying around, so I made one. And this is the one that I made, actually. I took a shoestring, looped it over, made about a 10-inch loop in it, tied it off, cut and burnt the ends. A nice little finger sling. Now, the one thing that I do know about this one, after shooting it for some time, is that because of the material, it actually tightens up on your finger. And if you're not careful, you can cut off your circulation. I know after, about 10 or 20 shots, the end of my fingertips were turning blood red because I'd cut off the circulation to them. So that's just something to be mindful of with a shoestring. Another one is, this is something that I just kind of stumbled across. This is just a lanyard for my sunglasses without the ends. They were missing the ends, so I figured, why not, I'll try it. It actually comes in about the right length, so it works really good. It does grab the bow quickly, but it doesn't tighten up on your fingers like a shoestring does. Okay, so all you want to do, you want to grab the looped string in your fingers just like this, and you want to just roll your fingers in on that. And what that's going to do is create these two ends like this. You just bring your finger off, put that on your thumb, and this is what you're going to end up with whenever you get done tying that off. Now, the other side, you're going to do the exact same thing on it. You're going to tie this one off the exact same way, loop it around your index finger, and that's what you should look like when you get it all put together. Now, this little tag end right here, you can use that to tighten it up a little bit. It's going to loosen up some whenever you're shooting, but again, you can pull it tight again with that tag in. If you're a glove shooter, it does help to take one finger out of the glove because you're going to need a little dexterity to get this on and get it secured on with your hand and your bow. So let's get my bow, let's get it put on, and I'll show you what it looks like. Alrighty, so take this off the finger here. Want to make sure that your thumb stays intact. Keep that looped on good there. Bring this around to your index finger, put it on like so, and then you just want to take and snug it down. If you're like me, I was first thinking that once I take this and I shoot, this is going to pull my fingers out of joint. It really doesn't. There's not that much force coming off of it. It's really just enough force to push the bow out of your hand is what you're going to experience. So maybe a little bit uncomfortable till you get used to shooting it, but once you do, you're going to find that it makes a world of difference in actually how you're doing your follow through whenever you take those shots. Hear that rain coming down. So as you can see, much more consistent grouping, a lot better control. The finger sling actually helps to kind of take that torque out of the bow because you're not affecting that shot in any way other than just your anchor and your release. Of course, your form plays a major part of that as well, but you can tell it definitely cleans that up. And you can, from the earlier video of, impacts down here in this corner and then up here, just trying to hold two different ways. So the finger sling actually helps, and it'll really be a good indicator if you're applying torque to your bow, especially if you've, went down your checklist of everything else that you're doing before you release that arrow. Now, using a finger sling like this may not be practical for you. Again, it's just a curiosity for me mainly. But I may start using it a lot more because, again, I don't hunt. I just like to get out and target practice. And anything that can give me that edge or that, that little one-up, if you will, I'm all for using. Again, very simple to make, very simple to use. Doesn't take a lot, and you're not going to drop your bow. Remember, get that in your head. If you do try one of these you're not going to drop your bow. So there you go. That's the long and the short of it, if you will. Now, do you need to use a finger sling? Not really. I mean, I did it for years without even thinking about using a finger sling. But because of my friend Handy's channel, watching him use one, it really kind of got my brain to thinking in different terms. So I thought I'd give one a try. And, I'm really surprised that something this small can have such a huge impact on how you actually place arrows on the target. And if you're having trouble with bow grip or torque, if you will, maybe try one of these. These will help you out and kind of really pinpoint that to see if that's what's actually going on. It may be something else, but it may be something as simple as that. So maybe give one of these a try and see if that doesn't help you clean up your shot cycle whenever you're out at the range. So thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to watch this video. I really appreciate it. And leave a comment what you think about this. Leave a comment if you use a finger sling or if you use a wrist sling, or maybe there's some other technique that you use that you could share here to help those in the community around us get better whenever we go out to shoot. So thank you all so much. I really appreciate it. My new subscribers and all my subscribers, thank you for thinking enough of my content to subscribe and to come in and join me when I post new videos and just hang out with me. I really appreciate that more than you know. Also, please check out my blog site, blueskiesarchery.com. I'll put the link in the description. The site is growing. I'm starting to add new content, and I'm planning on doing some things with the website that I'm not going to be doing here on YouTube. So please check it out. Consider subscribing there as well for future and different content. Thank you so much for today. I really appreciate your time. It's always my hope that you have a great day, a better day tomorrow, and a wonderful week ahead of you. And until next time.